Rather, speaking the truth in love, we are to grow up in every way into Him who is the head, into Christ.
Hello, Central Church of Christ. Billy Buselmeier here, bringing you the next in our church's series of videos about our reopening plan and preparing everyone for assembling in person again at our building. As you know, our elders have decided to resume in-person services at our building on Sunday, June 7th. However, they have given us all some expectations regarding normative behavior for how these services are going to look for the next little while. They sent an email out on May 9th, and it was this email, some excerpts from that that I wanted to read for you all in case you haven't gotten this email. The specific things that I'll be talking about today are their statements regarding, in keeping with government recommendations, face coverings are encouraged and physical distancing is to be observed. Additionally, other items to be noted: the nursery will be closed, water fountains will not be available, communion items will be available as the prepackaged sets which we've been using recently. But before I get to the specific parts of this plan and discussing those today, I wanted to do a little bit of an imagination exercise with all of y'all. For the intents and purposes of this exercise, forget all about coronavirus for just a moment. Also, fair warning, this little scenario is just a little bit gross, but it all does serve a point, so please bear with me through this. Imagine me waking up, beautiful Sunday morning, getting out of bed, getting ready to go to church, but I've got a little bit of a runny nose and a cough. It's just allergies, I tell myself, so instead of staying home, I come on into church. So when I come into church, I see Dan Bowman go get a piece of candy for my daughter Evelyn, but maybe I reach in the bag and grab a piece of candy for myself as well. As I'm walking into the auditorium, I shake hands with some friends, with Garrett McDonald and Huston Heatherly and a bunch of other folks. I go sit down and give my mother-in-law, Debbie Farmer, a hug. And all throughout church services, you know, I'm coughing and there's this mucus everywhere. And, you know, I'm starting to think to myself, maybe it's not just allergies after all. Maybe I've actually got kind of a funky cold. Imagine how bad I'm going to feel when I give my cold to everyone I came in contact with at church. Now let's bring COVID-19 back into this picture. And instead of this amusing yet kind of gross story I just told you, imagine that it's coronavirus, this COVID-19 that I'm infected with. And I'm bringing my sickness, this kind of disease that I've got, into church and spreading that to people that I come in contact with. Keep in mind as well, though, maybe I'm not even showing any symptoms yet. Studies show that even people who are infected with COVID-19, but before they are symptomatic, they are highly infectious. And lots of studies show that many new cases of coronavirus are transmitted in that pre-symptomatic stage, meaning that someone could be not showing any symptoms of their virus infection yet, but they're still passing it and spreading it to other people. If I was pre-symptomatic with COVID-19, and I came and assembled at church, but didn't take any precautions, I would be putting every single brother and sister that I came in contact with at risk for a very serious infection. Now, before I scare everyone into not coming to church or maybe not even leaving your house, we do have some precautions we can take to keep ourselves safe and others safe. The reopening plan our elders have created takes into account these precautions. Number one, if you are feeling unwell, please do not come to the building for services. Stay home. And I very strongly encourage you, consider consulting with your physician or consulting with one of the other coronavirus resources available in our area. At this point, we all know what social distancing is. Stay at least 6 feet from other people. Our auditorium is going to be set up such that it can accommodate this sort of distancing from each other. Also, hold off on hugs, hold off on giving handshakes, hold off on giving holy kisses to one another right now. Also, really important, practice good hand and cough hygiene. Avoid touching your face, your eyes, your nose. Wash or sanitize your hands frequently, especially after touching things like doorknobs or handrails. And if at all possible, avoid touching these sorts of things if that's safe for you. If you have to cough, cover your cough with the crook of your elbow. And again, wash and sanitize your hands frequently. The church bathrooms will be open to allow folks to wash their hands and use the bathrooms as necessary. Instead of passing the communion plates in the contribution baskets, like we've done in the past, we will continue to use the pre-packaged communion sets like we've been doing all for the last several weeks, and using alternate means for giving contribution. And again, things like water fountains, which can definitely spread disease, those will be closed, and our nursery will also be closed. Finally, the elders have encouraged anyone attending services in person to wear a mask or other appropriate facial covering. And you know what? If you don't have a mask, some very, very nice members of our congregation have donated their time and their effort and their supplies and made a pretty significant number of masks that will be available to people to use during service and then take home for your personal use away from the building as well. The CDC continues to recommend the wearing of simple fabric face cloths or otherwise appropriate masks to help prevent the spread of infection from pre-symptomatic people. Again, those are those people who are potentially infected with this COVID-19 and can certainly transmit it to others, but are not themselves yet showing symptoms. I'd like to close this video by echoing something Dan Bowman said in a lesson of his a couple of weeks ago. Wouldn't it be wonderful if several years down the road, we were able to say that no members of the Central Church of Christ contracted coronavirus, and that certainly none of them contracted it from meeting with brothers and sisters in Christ? Each of us at Central can do our part to reach this goal by taking precautions to keep each other safe and to keep ourselves safe. If any of you have a question about any of these measures, please reach out to one of our elders. I also welcome folks to reach out to me if you have any questions about coronavirus in general. You can find my contact information through the church directory. Please stay tuned for further videos in this series about preparing folks for resumption of in-person services at church, at our building. Again, thanks for watching, and God bless you.